Hi, today we're going to reverse roles and I'm going to be doing the cooking for clam chowder. If you ever hear the song California Dreaming, whenever I hear that song on the radio, I start thinking clam chowder. Now this is New England clam chowder, not like New York. I don't like tomatoes, so we're making New England clam chowder, which is a cream sauce, more of a cream. And if you go to a restaurant and they serve you something that kind of looks like gravy, that's not clam chowder. This is the good stuff. So what we need are one large onion, or about a cup and a half of onions. I like to make my stuff chunky. Number one, because when you cook it, it reduces, and I like to know what I'm eating. This is four large potatoes. I peeled them and cubed them. You don't have to peel them. You can just scrub them off real good, but then I always find that the peelings come off and just end up floating around in the clam chowder, so that's no fun. So I peel mine, and that's about 7 cups there. 4 or 5 potatoes, adjust to what you like. We got 2 bowls here, and the 2 bowls are for the actual clams. These are 6.5 ounce jars or cans of clams, and I normally go for like 48 ounces, which would be 8 cans over here. And pretty much I like to get the chopped clams. If you get the minced clams, you'll find out that you'll never find the clams in the clam chowder. So I go for the chopped clams, or buy your own clams and chop them up, whatever makes you good. And of course we like bumblebee. Okay, so the 2 bowls are, when we open these up, we're going to put the actual clams in here and the juice in the other container. So that's what the 2 containers are for. And one more ingredient that we're going to need, and that's going to be 1 quart of heavy whipping cream and maybe some milk if you want to dilute it down a little bit. Last ingredients are a 1/4 pound of bacon, more or less depending on what you like. It's bacon. This is the only deviation I go from the recipe, is I add more bacon because I like bacon. And the other one is salt pork. And this is the average size here. I'm not sure what size it is. It's 12 ounces of salt pork. They have some other stuff out there called pork fat and other things, but I just go for the salt pork because I think it changes the flavor. Okay, first thing we do here is we're going to get come around this side. Going to get the salt pork going. And salt pork is, if you never worked with it, is interesting. It's got like a skin on the back here that you need to take off. And what we're going to do is cube him up. Well, I'll show you how to get the skin off of him first. And please let me know if there's an easier way of doing this. But you have the skin there. You got to watch you don't slice your hands up here too. And that is the skin that you want to get off here. Get the regular, and you got to be careful, like I said, you don't cut yourself because it does tend to get a little tricky.
This is why he's doing this demo.
Yes, if this was Linda, would be on our way to the emergency room now. And you kind of peel it back and cut as you go. Kind of like skinning the deer, you know. And when you're done with that, that's the skin piece. You throw them in the garbage. At least that's what I do with them. The rest of it, we're going to cut into about 1/4 inch cubes. I'm cutting them in strips right now, then we'll cut the strips. You can speak up, they can hear you.
Your knuckles when you're cutting.
What about it? That's how you cut things, so you don't cut your fingertips off. You use your knuckles. Yeah, we didn't have to do that. That'd be too dangerous. And then we take them this way. And that's about the size of the pieces you want. That's going to shrink down when we cook them up. And we're actually going to do the bacon the same way because I like bacon. I haven't had too many complaints over this dish yet. Now, once we have them cut into about that size, we take it and we'll pour it into the pan here. And then we're going to do the same thing with the bacon.
You want to turn your pot on now or wait?
I tend to wait. So, about a quarter, half pound of bacon. And we chop the same way. So we have the same size pieces. Gather him up, throw him in, and put this stuff all in the sink. And yeah, turn on the front, down a little bit more.
Down to low?
No, up a little, about medium. Yeah, right. You don't want to cook too fast. Right there. Okay. And we come over and we wash our hands real good. Okay, we're in the process now of cooking up our salt pork and bacon. Kind of mix them up there, let them cook down real good. And that's going to take a little bit. So while he's doing that, we're going to get our clam chowder together for our clams. A couple things you need for that. You're definitely going to need a can opener. Because otherwise you're going to get tired opening cans. So, take our first one, chop clams, real easy. You hold the lid on them after you open them up, squirt all the juice in there, squeeze them out. Make sure your hands are good and clean before you do this, by the way. And we take our spoon and we take the actual clams. You got that? And get all your clams out of there and put them into the bowl. And then we do that with all the others. Correct. Okay. Our clams are ready to go. We're going to stick them in the refrigerator until we need them. You can throw a lid on them. It's not going to be that long, so I'm just going to put them in there. Keep them cool. And we're going to go back over here. This is going to be what we're going to add to our potatoes and onions once this is done baking up or cooking up there. Got about another minute to go here. Pause. Okay, we're cooked up pretty nice here. It's going to cook a little bit more when we add it in with the potatoes. So we're going to turn him off, and what we need to do now is drain the grease out of that pan, which is always a lot harder than it looks, and nobody likes to mess with hot grease. Okay, here we go. So we got a little slop bucket here, and we're just going to pour that excess grease off very carefully so you don't burn yourself. You use a little spoon in there to keep things from falling out. Oop, don't want to lose the bacon. Okay, that should be good enough. And you get a little bit of mess on the bottom of the pan, but that's, we're going to get that off of there. I'll show you how. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add the onions. Dump them in. Then we're going to add the potatoes. Well, actually, let's give it a quick stir here. Nice chunky onions, stir them in. You want to get all this mixed up together. That pan's a little hot. And then we're going to add the potatoes and stir them up once again. This is where using a larger pot makes it easier, at least neater. So you don't have to clean up as much. This kind of gets a nice coating of bacon juice on everything. Get it marinating in there. Okay. Next we add the chopped clam juice. Not the clams. Clams are still in the refrigerator. And you want to add the juice so that it just comes up, looks like it's just the right amount. So that you just see the juice through the potatoes. Turn on the heat here, and we're going to cook it down to when the potatoes are done. Now, when the potatoes get done is pretty important because you don't want soggy potatoes in your clam chowder. You want them like about most of the way cooked, 3/4 of the way cooked, so that where you can just stick the fork into them easily, but they don't melt in the juice over here. So we mix up this guy, get him going, and now we have to wait for the potatoes to finish up. Put the lid on them, and we'll see you back in a few minutes. Okay, our potatoes are pretty much cooked. When you stick a fork into them, there's a little bit resistance, so because you don't want them too overly cooked when you go in there. Otherwise they just fall apart and become a mush. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn it off, mix it up. Hopefully you've been mixing them up all along here. And we're going to let him sit here for a little bit while we get the scalded milk ready. I'm going to come over to this other side here. Okay. Next thing we need to do is add the scalded milk into the heated potatoes and bacon and onions and all that good stuff, and the clam juice. The reason we scald the milk is so it doesn't curl when we put the cooled into the hot. So what we're going to do is bring the milk up to the temperature of what's in the pot so that it all mixes nicely. So to do that, we take our heavy whipping cream here, 1 quart, and just add it into the pot. And try not to spill it on the oven. Ta-da. Put it on a low heat, average heat, and we're going to wait for him to start to get a little bit of a film on top of him, come to a boil. And then once it's there, then we'll be able to add that into the potatoes. So this is going to take a minute here. We'll let it heat up and we will get right back to you. In the meantime, just let the potatoes and the other clam chowder just sit there in the pot, stewing away. Still cooking a little bit. That's why you want to stop earlier on the potatoes, because if you don't, you end up with very mushy potatoes and that doesn't make for a good clam chowder. Okay, we'll see you back here in a couple minutes. Okay, our heavy cream is scalded. If you can see, there's like a little bit of a film on top of it here. See a little bit of a film? That's scalded. That means you're up to temperature. Give it a stir. Turn off the heat here. And what we're going to do is add this into the other pot. So here's our other pot. He's just been sitting there nicely stewing away. And what we will do is slowly add the cream into them as we stir. Okay, let me put this in the sink there. Now, what we do here is we just stir them up. And we're going to add our clams into them next. So let me go get those out of the refrigerator. So here are our clams. And we're just going to add him in there. And the temperature of everything in here will cook them, and while it's cooking, it will also mix all those good flavors together. And we stir those in. Now this is what I would call a concentrated clam chowder. When you serve this, especially if you put it in the refrigerator afterwards, this is a lot. So I generally take these and I let it cool. And you don't want to serve this for about an hour or 2 hours. You want this stuff to marinate in there and get the flavor throughout everything. So, but once it's done, this is concentrated. So what you're going to do is put it into a bowl and then add a little bit of milk to it, and then a little bit of pepper and some crackers, and you're ready to go. Okay, it's been about an hour and a half here, maybe a little bit more. This guy's been simmering in here. You see he's nice and thick. Like I said, this is concentrated. So what we're going to do, normally what you want to do is take this, put the lid on it, put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then the next day it's perfect. But it's still good to have now. After about an hour, the juices are in there. So I'm going to heat up some of this. So you got to get down to the bottom and get out some of the heavy stuff whenever you're serving. And then you can add some of the juice from the top. Makes for a nice combination. That's going to be my lunch since it's way past lunchtime here. So, put that on the stove when you get out of the refrigerator, or I actually put these in small containers so that I have individual servings. And I can just grab a bunch of that, throw it in the pot, and fire it up. So, we're going to heat him up a little bit. And we're going to add some milk. Like I said, it's concentrated, so you want to add a little bit of milk. So I add about maybe a cup, 2 cups of milk, depending on how much you put in there. Stir them up. Now this is what clam chowder should look like. It shouldn't be a gravy. It shouldn't be a paste. It shouldn't look like something that dried. It should be nice and liquidy. And we're just going to let him heat up here for a minute. But I would actually take these, and after this pot sits for a day, I will ladle them out, put them into either mason jars or Tupperware containers or whatever you want in individual servings. And it's good for about a week in a refrigerator. So if you're going out fishing, you come back, you don't have any fish, at least you got some good clam chowder you can warm yourself up with. It looks like everything's nice and warm here. I'm going to turn the heat off. Gotta get that good stuff in the bottom there over. A ladle would work better for this, but hey, I get to clean it up anyway. I like to put a little bit of pepper in mine. Okay, a lot of pepper I like to put in mine. And a couple crackers. Some people put butter in. You can add salt as you like. However you like to do it, but lunch is served.